Welcome back to another episode of Rock Boys Football. A ton of talent entering in the transfer portal the last couple of days, and I want to take a deep dive into this Florida State program and talk about some particular positions and players they will be addressing as this transfer portal window has opened up. And you look back to 12 months ago, and Mike Norvell was extremely aggressive in the transfer portal, and it paid off in meaningful ways, right? Getting guys like Keon Coleman, Braden Fisk, Jaheim Bell, a ton of guys that contributed to the special season that we just saw Florida State have in 2023. I would expect Mike Norvell to do a very similar approach in this year's transfer portal. And I don't know if you can find many coaches across the country that are marrying the high school recruiting game with the transfer portal recruiting game, as well as Mike Norvell, in terms of, we're going to still recruit at a high level on the high school recruiting trail, but we're going to supplement our roster with guys from the transfer portal in a kind of strategic way. I think Mike Norvell crushed it last cycle. I think he's going to crush it again this cycle. Really excited to get into it. Before we do, just want to say thank you to you guys and a sincere thank you to the Florida State fans. Obviously, a heartbreaking last couple of days for Florida State fans. I got up on here Sunday and kind of gave you some of my frustrations with the College Football Playoff Committee. It sounded like it was really, really well received from the Florida State fans. Can't thank you guys enough for all the support. Obviously, it's been a program that I've just absolutely love talking about this season. You guys have always shown a ton of support. If y'all do enjoy the content, consider subscribing to the channel. And more importantly, would love to hear from you guys in terms of what players, what positions you would like to see Florida State target as this transfer portal window is kicking off. And without further ado, let's get into this one. And I want to start with the quarterback position, where I think I want to describe what kind of quarterback Florida State should be bringing in the transfer portal if they so choose to do so. And I'm going to go with a veteran guy. And that's kind of been the talking point amongst fans and other guys who cover Florida State, is you're really confident with the young quarterbacks that you have coming into this program, specifically a guy like Luke Kromenhoek. But you look at this quarterback room right now, and you probably want a veteran quarterback coming in to start in the 2024 year, because this roster is still really good. And it's probably the favorite to win the ACC next year. You want to make sure you have a quarterback that's proven at the college football level to play at a high level. And this is a Florida State program that's one of the hottest programs across the country. And it's not going to have a problem getting a top-notch quarterback to come to Tallahassee and play. And the reason I say veteran quarterback is you still feel good about the quarterbacks that are in this program. Again, specifically a guy like Luke Kromenhoek. So you want to bring in a veteran guy that a guy like Luke Kromenhoek can sit behind, learn from, and be ready to go in the next couple of years. The first guy I want to talk about, and one of the quarterbacks that's been linked to Florida State the most, is Cam Ward. Now, Cam Ward is going to have suitors from all over the country, right? Oregon, USC, Ohio State, Florida State. Cam Ward is probably the most talented quarterback that's in the transfer portal right now. You take a look at what he's done the last 2 years. 65% completion percentage for just under 7,000 yards, 48 touchdowns, 16 interceptions. And what I think is most exciting about Cam Ward is I don't even think you've seen the best version of Cam Ward. He's already considered one of the best quarterbacks at the college football level, but there is still a lot of meat on the bone. I mean, over 2 years ago, CS football had Incarnate Word. And so it is a guy that's still kind of getting his feet wet at the Power 5 level. And if he goes to the right spot, I think you're getting a guy in Cam Ward who truly could be a special quarterback in 2024. And I think that's why he's so coveted. But you look at what Florida State did with Jordan Travis and the continued improvement he showed throughout his career. I think Florida State would be a really attractive destination for a quarterback like Cam Ward. He's one of the guys that, again, Florida State's interested in, but you're battling a lot of the top heavy hitters for that quarterback as well. The next guy I want to talk about, who, again, some strong links to Florida State so far, is DJU. Obviously started his career at Clemson, went to Oregon State, and I thought you saw a more improved, a more confident DJU at Oregon State. But I'll say this right now, me personally, and I would love to hear from you guys in the comment section, because I could see a lot of people disagreeing. I don't know if DJU is the guy. Yeah, we've all seen him at Clemson. We saw him at Oregon State. And yes, I think he made some improvements at Oregon State, but the consistency and the accuracy, I just don't know if it's there. And I mean, at this point, he's going into his 5th year of college football. Is it going to be there? I get he's talented, has an arm that is one of the more powerful arms that you see in college football. But at the end of the day, you have to consistently make throws, take care of the football. And throughout DJU's last 3 years of being a starting quarterback, You haven't really seen that at a consistent level, not even really at Oregon State. So I think DJU would be a quality starter at Florida State. I don't know if he's necessarily my first selection. Now, Cam Ward and DJU have been kind of the two guys that have been linked to Florida State. I want to kind of throw out another guy that I think would be an excellent fit in Tallahassee, and that's Grayson McCall, the quarterback at Coastal Carolina. It's really rare to find a quarterback in the transfer portal with not only as much experience as Grayson McCall, but the productivity is absolutely off the charts. I mean, he's completed 69% of his passes during his time at Coastal Carolina for 10,000 yards, 88 touchdowns, 14 interceptions. He's also added 1,000 yards rushing with 18 touchdowns. He's extremely accurate. He's a great processor. He gets the football out quickly. And yeah, he's probably not an NFL arm in terms of the talent, but you look at this Florida State team, if you can get a quarterback that's going to make the right decisions, be accurate with the football, not turn the football over, this is a Florida State team that is competing for a national championship again in the 2024 season. I think Grayson McCall, although it's a big step up from Coastal Carolina to Florida State playing in the ACC, it's rare to find. It's hard to, I guess what I'd say is it's hard to argue with all the production Grayson McCall has had throughout his career at Coastal Carolina. 10,000 yards. And what really stands out is 88 touchdowns to 14 interceptions. He's going into his 6th year of college football. He's extremely experienced. He's been extremely productive. I would love to see Grayson McCall playing in Tallahassee next year. He's on a visit to UCF right now. I don't see why Florida State couldn't turn the heat up and go get a Grayson McCall. Now, Cam Ward is my first choice. I think he is extremely talented. I personally would take Grayson McCall over DJU. But we'll see. I mean, I trust Mike Norvell a hell of a lot smarter than me. We'll trust what he does with this quarterback room. Now, the next position I want to talk about that I'm kind of surprised, and I would love to hear again from Florida State fans, hasn't really been talked about enough, or not enough, but much in terms of Florida State targeting in the transfer portal as the pass catcher position. And that's not me saying I don't believe in some of the young guys on this roster, like a Destin Hill, like a Hakeem Williams. Like those guys are going to be studs for Florida State, but you look at losing your 3 leading wide receivers in Keon Coleman, Johnny Wilson, and Jaheim Bell, to me would make sense to go get an established wide receiver pass catcher in the transfer portal to supplement all that young talent that you have in the wide receiver room. The first guy I want to go to as I get this advertisement out of here is Eric McAllister from Boise State. And what I love about Eric McAllister is the production is there, but more importantly, the physical tool set to be productive at the Power 5 level is also there, right? 6'4", 200 pounds. You look at his 9-game season in 2023, 47 catches, 873 yards, 5 touchdowns in a Boise State offense that didn't really throw the football all that much. This was a Boise State offense that wanted to run the football, but when good things happened to Boise State and the passing attack, a lot of it was Eric McAllister making some plays. On his career, 19.5 yards per catch. I mean, this guy is a big play waiting to happen, and we all know Mike Norvell, Alex Atkins, they want to hit the explosive plays down the field. You're losing some big bodies like Johnny Wilson and Keon Coleman. I think Eric McAllister could come in and kind of, I'm not saying Eric McAllister is Keon Coleman. Keon Coleman's kind of a generational type dude, but Eric McAllister could play kind of a similar role to Keon Coleman. I would really like to see Florida State go after a proven pass catcher like a guy like Eric McAllister. The other guy I want to go to in a very similar comp to Jaheim Bell, is Corey Dyches from Maryland. Super productive tight end over his career at Maryland, 107 catches for over 1,100 yards, 9 touchdowns. And again, you see the measurables, 6'2", 215 pounds, a little bit smaller than Jaheim Bell, but very similar player style, right? In terms of not really the inline traditional tight end, but guy that could be an offensive weapon for Florida State. And I really liked how Jaheim Bell was used, especially at certain points in the season. You get a guy like Corey Dyches, I think he could play a very similar role to Jaheim Bell. And again, a little bit undersized for like an NFL tight end, but at the college level, this guy is kind of a matchup nightmare, has really good athleticism for his size. I think that one would make a lot of sense. And again, what you're getting is between Eric McAllister and Corey Dyches, 2 proven pass catchers who've done it at the Power 5 level, or I guess Corey Dyches is Power 5 level, Eric McAllister, Group of 5, but you're getting 2 guys that have done it at the college football level, which I think you don't have a ton of in this Florida State wide receiver room as it sits. And again, not me not believing in a guy like Destin Hill or Hakeem Williams, to make that stride and make that jump heading into year 2. You want to go to the defensive side of the ball to kind of round this out. And you've heard a lot of buzz around Patrick Payton. I don't really want to make too many comments about what's going on with Pat Payton. I've read about it. Sounds like the NIL money isn't matching up with what he thinks he wants. I'm really hoping they figure that out between Florida State and Patrick Payton, because I do think he's a really good football player. But if he does leave, Jared Verse going to the NFL draft, that edge rusher position is a massive need. And as this was really funny time, and as I was prepping Florida State, getting my Florida State wish list, check my phone, Princely U from the Florida Gators entering his name into the transfer portal. And I was exactly writing down edge defender as a need for Florida State and said, throw him on the list. This guy, and this isn't disrespectful to Pat Payton. This is an upgrade from Pat Payton, in my opinion. I mean, there was not a lot of good things going on with this Florida defense. Princely U was one of them. 20% pass rush win rate, 28 quarterback hurry, 7 sacks. He probably would be a day 2 pick had he chosen to go to the NFL draft. Princely U, I think, would be a massive addition to Florida State, especially at that edge rusher position where you're trying to replace a guy like Jared Verse and potentially Patrick Payton. A couple other guys that are standing out that Florida State has a lot of buzz around. RJ Oben from Duke, a guy that I like, 5th-year senior. You take a look at his career. Last year, 14 hurries, 5 sacks, a 13.6 pass rush win rate. He kind of has all those traits that you want in an edge defender, right? 6'4", 260, plays the run extremely well as well. There's a reason he's a top 10 prospect, according to 24/7 Sports in the transfer portal. What you're getting with RJ Oben is really just a proven commodity. A guy that's played at a high level in the ACC for years now, and Florida State would benefit massively from getting a proven commodity at that edge rusher position. Last guy I want to talk about, again, another guy that's getting a lot of buzz to Florida State, and that's Sam Okunlola, the little brother of the Miami offensive tackle. He's solid. I buzzed his film a little bit this morning, and he's not necessarily an elite pass rusher, and you kind of see that in the numbers, only a 5% pass rush win rate. But he's a guy that plays to run hard. He's got some heavy hands. Would be a nice addition to Florida State if I'm valuing who I'm going after in that edge rusher class. Princely U, RJ Oben, probably at the top of the list. But Samo Okunola would not be a bad addition for Florida State as well. Those are the names I have right now. And as Florida State continues to have those player meetings, figure out who's coming back, who's going to the draft, and who's going to the transfer portal, we'll have a little bit more information in terms of who Florida State is targeting. This is my list right now. Again, Florida State fans, can't thank you guys enough for all the support you guys have shown the boys. If you do enjoy the content, consider subscribing to the channel, and we'll talk to y'all later.